Welcome back to another episode of the Keep Fantasy Great Pod. I'm your host, as always, and Commissioner Nick Mayu, and we bring in a special guest today, Justin Bartus. Bartus, welcome in.
Thanks, man. I'm happy to be a part of the first playoff pod. It's very exciting. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. Ever since we were drafting in August, this is what you dream of, making the playoffs and getting into it. So I'm excited to dive in today.
Definitely. It's been a crazy season and a long ride. We're 14 up, 14 down. Week 15, first week of the playoffs for us. For those, if you're clueless to the league, we got 6 teams in our playoffs. So we got 2 on a bye, 4 playing this week, 2 matchups. Let's just get right to it and talk about it. Before we do, though, any surprises coming into the playoffs? I feel like we've kind of had our 6-man playoff kind of set in stone for like 4 weeks now, so not too many surprises or any hiccups, I'd say. What do you think?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we knew basically the teams that were going to be in it for a little while. It's just like we were looking for possibly like a late shakeup in seeding. It could have been. But everything, held true to what it's been looking like for probably like the last 2 weeks. So no surprises there. Just want to give a shout out to Greg. You're not better than the curse. You're not special. 7 years in a row now where the champion has failed to make the playoffs in the following season. So that's a league tradition that's held true since day one. So, we'll see if that's going to remain true after whoever gets crowned champion this year.
Yeah,
going into 2023.
That's the small price you pay for winning a championship. You don't make the playoffs.
It's definitely worth it, though.
Definitely worth the even trade. We've also had 6 straight years with a new champion. This year in the postseason, we have 3 repeat champions and 3 newcomers. So a 50-50 chance here for a new champ to be crowned, our 7th champ, or to get our first repeat ever. We had some good matchups in store. Specifically, we got to start. We have Steve as the 4 seed hosting me as the 5 seed. This one's a great one, in my opinion. We got 2 teams, neither one of which, the only 2 that haven't won a postseason game. So therefore, we have 2 newbies for a possible championship. One will be knocked out early. Let's just talk about it. Who do you like to start? I think this is gonna be a close one.
Yeah, I'm trying to go through the matchups. So just want to cover a little bit on how these teams got here. So Nick coming in at 8-6 with the new era. I mean, did you start? What was it? 0-2 or 0-3?
Only 0-2, yeah.
0-2. Okay, so you rattled off 8 of the last 12. So that's an impressive streak you got going on. But no, a good season for your team. I'm looking like obviously Herbo with all his weapons now is real dangerous. With Dalvin, honestly not looking like prime Dalvin, but that Minnesota offense can get humming at any time.
Right.
Should be some decent amount of points scored in that game. Nick Chubb, fighting through some inconsistency since Deshaun's been back and a little bit before then. But just looking like and right now you're dealing with some injuries, so it's a little tough on your side with Steve. Steve had a really impressive season, finished I think second or third in points.
First in points.
What do you do?
Steve won the points title.
Oh, did he?
Yes, he beat out Drew by 2 points on the final week of the year.
Oh, that's right. Congrats, Steve. That's right. Oh my God, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, the points champion, 8-6, first positive over 500 season in the league. Congrats to Steve. He's 8-6 as well in the 4 spot. And he's been he was strong with the running backs coming out too. He had it didn't look good in the beginning, but man, they've been holding true. And along with Diggs and Burrow, this team is very legitimate. And they're definitely going to carry him, those 4 players at least. If he's going to have any kind of shot, then they're going to be, relying on them. So just looking at it right now, Nick is a 3-point favorite according to the ESPN projections, 129 to 126.
Yep.
If your guys are able to play, if they're able to stick it out, Amari Cooper and Ramondre, I think I'm going to give the slight edge to you because of the depth and a little bit of edge in the flex spot. And yeah, that's basically, I was going to say maybe tight end, but I don't really think so because they're both,
it's a crapshoot.
They both can go for a touchdown and low yardage or, catch a couple balls. But, I think just a little bit of your depth at the flex spot will give you the advantage. And those 2 matchups that he's got in the flex spot are pretty tough, against Philly and New Orleans run defenses with Montgomery and Patterson respectively. I'm excited. Definitely excited though. Derrick Henry is facing the Chargers. He's going to go nuclear.
Yeah,
Josh Jacobs has never stopped, for like the last 2 months, just putting up ridiculous amount of points this year. I would go with, I think right now I'm going to go with you, who is 3-point. I think I'm going to take the 3-point. I'm going to lay the 3. And then I've seen you guys have 2 close matchups in the past, both decided by single digits. I'll go with a little bit more than 3-point win for you, sir.
Yeah. So going back into that with the history of Steve and I, at least this year, we split our season series. Week 2 we played where Steve beat me out by 8 points, and that was due to the Stephon Diggs Monday Night Crazy, Monday Night Madness, I guess you could call it. And then I beat him in week 11 by 2 points thanks to Justin Herbert on Sunday night, putting up a little touchdown with like a minute 40 to go. That secured my victory. So Steve and I have had some wild matchups this year. Just taking a look back at some of the history here too as well. Neither one of us has a win in the playoffs. So Steve 0-0, I'm 0-3 career in the postseason, looking to get my first win. And then overall, I am 8-4 against Steve regular season. But now we have the playoffs. It's a whole different animal. I think both of our teams are really good. Probably the 2 best teams we've ever had, just from a standalone point. And it's going to be tough because Steve is the points champ. So, he could score and his team could go off at will. I think he said it in the chat. His team's the only one that never was under 100. So if my team wants to win, I'm going to have to score. And hopefully my matchups can bring me there this week.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's the new era. I mean, hey, 0-3. Not pretty, but it is the new era. So, strike it from the record. Look forward to this year. And I apologize again to Steve. I completely forgot about the points. No disrespect. Your team's balling. And, consistency, right? The only team that didn't have under 100 in a week. So keep that consistency up, and, you're going to have a shot, man. Good luck.
Yeah, it's going to be a good matchup there, 4-5. Awaiting that in the buys, Josh and Drew, but that's dependent on the next matchup. Our next matchup, also a good one. We got the 6-seeded Kyle Cactus Bartus at 8-6, heading in to yours truly, Justin Bartus, 3 seed at 10-4. Bartus, how are you feeling about this one?
Oh man, I can't lie. Obviously, there's a little extra in this matchup, right? A little extra, especially the way somebody's been talking. I like to talk, so it's all good fun. Mm-hmm. But little disappointed in myself and my team. I can't lie. Obviously, starting the year 7-0, and in first place quite literally the entire season. Mm-hmm. I should be in one of the buys, but I can't say should. I could be in one of the buys. My team really is, as hobbled into this matchup. So, I would love to play Kyle a little bit later on, maybe next week. But, we deal how the cards are dealt. So, he's got, based on the ESPN point projections, let me pull it up. The last time I checked, he's an 8
he's minus
favorite.
8.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I'm taking the +8 to the bank all day.
Yeah.
I'll get into money line, but +8 is absolutely disrespectful. I lead the head-to-head series all time. Just in the regular season, 5 matchups, I've taken 3 out of the 5. Mm-hmm. 60%, shout out the Fantasy 5. That's what we shoot for, at least definitely above that. But this year, beaten by 34 in week 6. He'll probably blame it on injuries like he always does. But, I'm looking forward here. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. A lot of Saturday matchups, really not a lot of Sunday involvement in between our matchup here. He's got 4 players going tonight. We're filming this Thursday morning. 4 players going tonight in the same game.
Yikes.
So, this is going to be really indicative of how this matchup's going to go. Of course, not on my end. I don't have anybody going, but at least for how his team's performance is going to be. He's got half of his players going in one game. Fun quarterback matchup. Both playing in the same game. And in that same game, you got Rico, of course. I'm excited, man. Definitely taking the +8 to the bank. Of course I want to go myself, right? The way my team has been performing lately, I'm not feeling very confident, but I feel like my team is healthy now. Mm-hmm. And I like the matchups a little bit. So, I would go Kyle a slight win. I'd hate to say it, but I don't want to disrespect. Don't want to post any bulletin board material. He's been on a great run, 6 in a row. Right, started 2-6, 6 in a row now. Had a big charge in points. His team's been scoring really well. Team's healthy as well now. Wasn't the beginning of the year. I'll go Kyle with a slight win, maybe 4 or 5 points. That Terry will push him over the edge Sunday Night Football to decide it.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one. I was just looking at it while you were talking because you mentioned Thursday night. Kyle has 6 out of 8 of his players in just 2 games, and that'll be done by Saturday night. You'll have 75% of his lineup already out of the way, which is just crazy to think about. You got 50% tonight, another 2 just in that Miami Buffalo game on Saturday night. So yeah, he's got all his eggs in one basket. So it's really dependent on how those 2 games go. Obviously, I didn't step in on my own matchup and say who I thought was going to win, and that was on purpose. Just going to let my team ride it out. But just looking at it here, I actually kind of like you to win. And I'll post some bulletin board material for him in the event that he does. But regardless, I think it's just those 2 matchups to me scream low scoring. You got a San Fran Seattle game tonight with backup level quarterbacks on a Thursday night matchup. You know, those primetime divisional games I feel like are always low scoring. And then you got a Buffalo Miami, another primetime kind of divisional matchup, but also in the freezing cold where he has the quarterback and the wide receiver one. Impossible to stop Tyreek Hill. I know that. He'll probably get loose, but Tua's been pretty bad these past couple of weeks. You saw it last week against Sunday night when he got absolutely out-dueled by fellow draft counterpart and my favorite, Justin Herbert, where Tua looked like he didn't belong in that same tier, which he never did. But regardless, he's playing in a tough Buffalo matchup. They're a warm weather team in cold, freezing, sleet, snow, Buffalo. I could see that game, being low scoring, which again, maybe not the best for you because you also have Josh Allen on the other side. But Josh Allen could run, so I kind of like that better. I like your matchups just a little bit more when it comes to this week. So I still think it'll be a close one. I think 8's a little crazy. Especially with what the projections always show for Kyle. They always have him at 140 plus. I know he's been on a little bit of a tear, but I wouldn't have him at a projected 140. I see this game being more like 132 to 125 maybe.
Okay. Wow. Well, yeah. So you have me at 132, huh? You're thinking a big bust out of him?
Yeah, I mean, I look at Kyle's games and yes, he's had a scoring outburst, but in his last 4 weeks he's put up over 125 once, so I think a 140 projection is a little crazy. Yes, he's been winning, but I mean, he has the capability to put up over 150, and we've seen that 4 different times this year. I just don't think this is going to be one of those weeks where he does. And if he doesn't, I think you can compete, and you'll be a little bit better of a matchup than what my sorry team did last week or Emmett's in previous weeks, or whoever Kyle had faced. I was just looking at the last 2 matchups. But yeah, I mean, Kyle's numbers weren't as impressive against me last week, and I could see more of the same coming this week.
Yeah, no, I'm excited too. I mean, we talked about it too. I thought it was going to come down to, honestly, us in points. And it would have been funny, we look back on that trade a long time ago when it was Ramondre from Marquise and the guy that we don't talk about is cut twice in this season.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, now that's going to come, full swing now. Like, I need the wide receiver help more than ever. Now Hollywood's going to get a chance, and now playing with Colt McCoy. We'll see how that's going to work out, but I'm definitely excited for it. And like I said, I wish it was a week later. We were playing the semis, but
yeah.
I'm excited to get after it this week. It's Crush the Cactus week. I'll be dropping some memes throughout the week, but hoping they don't bite me tonight. Hopefully it's, like you said, a low scoring divisional game, and I get off to a good start.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, if you haven't been following, the winner of this matchup will decide what seeds play. So Josh currently sitting as the 1 seed. If Kyle wins, that'll be an auto lock to play each other. If Bartus, you win, then you'll be an auto lock to play the 2 seed Drew in the next week, deciding it for then Steve and I. Just taking a look a little bit at the bye weeks, because why not? We have Josh and Drew on the bye, and I don't think there's anyone better for the bye than Drew, who needed it more, I should say, really. With the way his team has been, he's been winning. He's been straggling along there, but due to all those injuries and seasonal things, it's good for Drew for himself to get a little bye and kind of bypass this week and head into next week, especially with some tougher matchups as well. What do you like about these 2 teams kind of sitting in their byes?
Yeah, well, let's definitely cover those 2 guys. Just because they're not playing this week, they've earned those bye weeks, and we got to give them that respect. We'll give them a little look inside their teams here. Yeah, but no, like you said, 100% recognition at Drew. Getting that bye is huge for that team, right? He's overcome 2 massive injuries, just guys that are absolute ballers this year. They just said Cooper Kupp's not going to come back, so That kind of sucks for Drew. Like he was hoping for, either next week or the week after, possibly, should he get to that point. I would have loved to have Cooper Kupp back, but I mean, this team is definitely still dangerous. Like we've seen Mahomes, and that playoff schedule is just delicious. Facing Houston, Seattle. I think the Broncos are week 17. But then Aaron Jones, has the bye week. He's coming off the bye week, and also they're playing Monday night. So a lot of, rest for him there. And then we've just seen, like, he needs Brady to really pick it up, right? He's starting both these Bucs receivers. Mike Evans, we haven't seen a good week in a long time. Godwin's been reliable, though. You got to love Garrett Wilson, right? With Mike White, he's rifting right now. And that playoff schedule is among the best, of remaining teams left going into the fantasy playoffs. And just, it's a solid team. And, like I said, you got to be happy to get the bye, focus up, get the rest for the fellas, and then get ready to face either me or
the winner of the Steve
matchup. So there's no chance that he plays Kyle, though.
No, none at all.
Then he would play Josh. Yeah,
if Kyle wins, it's an auto Josh. Same for you. There's no way that you would ever play Josh in the second round, at least.
Gotcha. Yeah, what do you think about Drew's team? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, somehow he was able to. I feel like with all these injuries, he would have tanked off a little bit, picked up a couple more losses, finished in, snuck in still because he was there, but he was able to overcome that and then also get the bye, and then also on top of that, finish 2 points behind Steve for the points title. This was like a race all the way to the very end. So good for Drew to be able to do that. Just looking at his team, I mean, you touched on all the points. I think, you need the Bucs to pick it up. Here, I think just looking at it, it doesn't seem like a scary team off the bat when you're looking at it. Not a team that I'm afraid to play in the postseason. Yet, he's been able to continue winning. So you have to keep that in mind. I think his point totals have been a little low the past 5 weeks, and he's been lucky kind of with some of the matchups. But who hasn't? Mahomes is scary to go off for 40 anytime he steps on the field. And you got the Garrett Wilson connection with Mike White. I mean, he's got a lot of high upside guys, which also could have a downside to him as well. He's got a lot of low floor, high ceiling kind of guys on his team, which could be good, could be bad for the postseason, which does make this team a little frightful at times when you really break it down here. So, I mean, he's got that team that could make that push if he has 2 hot weeks these next 2 weeks. He could be sitting right there with a new champion. But looking at, I don't love what I see, but again, you never know when it comes to the end here for him.
100%, yeah. And this is a guy that's made the fantasy championship before.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got a little bit of playoff experience, right? Yeah. He's got a love to buy, and then just getting ready game plan. He's going to watch some film this week, watch the games live, and just get ready for whatever opponent he's got coming on.
Definitely. We didn't talk about it, but Drew currently sits 2-2 with his career postseason record. I believe both wins came when he made the championship that one year. Or no, because you'd only have 1-1. Never mind. Disregard me. He had a win last year. Our next guy is Josh as well. Josh, no stranger to the postseason, has a fantasy champion, currently sitting at our 1 seed. He has also been dominating right there with you all year, kind of just right behind you until the last week of the year. But we got Josh, 2-3 career in the postseason. So his only wins coming when he did win the championship. So it's been a little bit of a drought in terms of postseason wins for Josh. What do we like about his team so far?
Yeah, I mean, you got to love, starting right at the top, Jalen Hurts, right? Like we talked about it. I knew right when, he made that trade with Greg that was going to be really the last piece that he needed. And since then, I don't even know if he's lost, since getting Jalen Hurts, maybe once. But yeah, no, that's been huge. He's the MVP favorite now. Yeah, Tony Pollard has been fantastic. JJ, ridiculous. And really the X factors, I think, or what he's going to get out of his flex, right, out of his flex spots. So right now, at least for this week, he's slotting in with Miles and Chris Olave.
Mm-hmm.
Really like those guys. They at least with Sanders, like he's shown like that he's got the potential to go for 20, 30 plus, a couple touchdowns, things like that. Olave, you just never really know. And I feel like it's really matchup dependent. And then, it's definitely a dangerous team, definitely is dangerous. And yeah, congrats to Josh getting that 1 seed, an 11-win season. That's a great accomplishment. Yeah. I know he was asking what the season high, the career high in wins was. 12, right? Or was it 11?
It is 11. Shijin had 11 the year he won in 2020. So Josh was able to match that this year with his 11-win season.
All right, congrats, Josh, tying the league high 11-win season. But yeah, no, man, I'm definitely he's got to be excited. He's got to be licking his chops, looking for whoever's coming through. He's got a very dangerous team. It's very well rounded, and he's going to have a good shot. He's got to be at least one of the front runners to win the chip this year and be the first repeat champion in the league.
Yeah, it definitely helps coming in when you have that first round bye, especially with Goddard coming back. I think this week he's all slated to possibly play, which is good for Josh, especially since he doesn't have to worry about playing him this week, and he can just kind of relax, sit back, let Goddard get his 1 week in, and then plug right back in the lineup, hopefully for next week. But no, Josh's team is scary as well, man. You saw what he was able to do last week, putting up 143. Yeah, it's terrifying. You touched on all the highlights. I think he'll like to see Saquon hopefully get back to a little bit of what he was able to do earlier on in the year. I think he's been kind of on a downside, but it helps having Tony Pollard and Miles Sanders, which is weird to say those two names as helpful to your fantasy season, but they've been dominant. Both sitting as top 10 running backs so far this year. What they've been able to do has been incredible because we came into the year like, oh, Josh's wide receivers are stacked, Jefferson, Olave, Pittman, Sutton, and then all of a sudden we turn around completely, and it's his running backs that have been carrying the load with Saquon, Tony Pollard, and Miles Sanders. So that's just how fantasy is. Josh's team is probably the most complete team in terms of I don't see a glaring weakness. A lot of other teams have maybe a struggle flex or quarterback, whatever, or their tight end isn't good. But when you look at Josh's team, it's probably the most well-rounded just from top to bottom. So it's going to be tough, especially since, Steve and I could be very well playing him. If you pick up a win, we'll be playing Josh in the next round. So it's tough altogether. But I like everyone's chances. I think this is probably our most even year. I think kind of everyone has a chance, really. I don't really think I don't see a team that's that far below anyone else's, and I don't see a team that's that far above anyone else. I think everyone's teams is right around that same level, and I've been saying it kind of all year with my power rankings, just for the last 6 weeks, that that 1 through 6 is so tough to stack up against each other. Someone scores a little bit more 1 week, someone scores more the next week, and just looking at every team looks so similar. So I'm really excited for this year, and I'm happy that we have 6 playoff teams. Because imagine this was a 4-man race, and then Kyle and I would be on the outside looking in, and I don't think our teams are any worse than anyone 4 above us. So I love the 6-man. I think it's been a great addition, and I'm excited for this postseason, man.
Absolutely, yeah, it's gonna be a blast. So. Before we go, we can't do a playoff pod unless we're going to do one next week. But come on, let's give a little, finals predictions and who we got winning the whole thing. So you want to get us started, or you want me to go first?
A little bracket action.
Yeah, bracket action.
I could go a little bracket action. I'll start because I'm high on myself. I'll start us off. I take myself over Steve, and I take you over Cactus, which would then put you against Drew in the next week, and it would put me against Josh in the second round. And I mean, it's tough because it's you and I, so it's obviously we're probably going to back ourselves. Obviously someone else may want to throw their bracket in the mix after they listen to this, but after that we'd have the 1-5 versus the 2-3. I have you beating Drew in a 2-3 matchup, setting you to your second finals, correct? No, third.
Yeah, no, third.
Third final.
Whoa, don't discredit me, man.
Don't discredit now. No discrediting going. I have you plugging away to your third final. I think your matchups next week, just taking a quick peek, are kind of scary looking just to go up against. I don't want to get too far involved with them because you still got to win this week. But I'll send you to the finals, and then I have myself upsetting Josh in a 1-5 matchup, sending me and you to our finals that I've been saying for years now and backing up since year one probably, and then I have myself winning, of course, in a tightly knit matchup, probably 142 to 136 in week 17 final, because you got to do the total points for the tiebreakers just in case someone else has the same bracket as me. But yeah, that's what I got. I got Herbert on Sunday night in the finals, putting up probably a 42 piece to give me the win.
Jeez, who's that game against on the Sunday night?
Don't worry about it. It probably gets flexed out anyway. It's against the Rams, so I don't think that one's staying put.
Oh God, yeah, that's not staying.
But regardless, that's my bracket. Why not? What do you got for yourself over there?
Yeah, of course. I want to say that I'm going to win it all, but hey, I didn't say. I said that Kyle would get the slight win.
You did say that.
Yeah, based on I'm probably the biggest projections hater out there.
Yep.
So I'm not gonna say, oh, he's projected by 8, he's gonna win. Like, he's been rolling, right? Like he's solid, at most spots. I guess I'll go Kyle. I'll stick with that, right? So like Kyle beat me, right? And I'm hoping that I'm wrong. But I'll go Kyle win, which would face him up against Josh. Like I said, I think you're gonna get a slight win over Steve, which would set you up against Drew.
Yep.
And I think you would advance over Drew. Kyle and Josh, I mean, it just depends. I want to see what Kyle's matchups the week after would look like.
I'll tell you right now, Josh's matchups are tough in week 16 for himself. I was taking a peek while we were talking about his team earlier. His week 16 matchups are actually a little tougher. Again, looking at Kyle's, his also look a little tougher as well, but
oh my goodness, yeah, this is dangerous, man. Like that if that's the case, like it's gonna be a slugfest on defense. I'm just looking. There's a couple that's like Philly.
Yeah.
Who else do I see? Green Bay. I mean, I don't know. They're kind of hit or miss, but I see a San Fran mixed in there. Like that's kind of scary. So yeah, that could be a knock him down, drag him out. So who would face you in the finals? I would say. I guess I'd go Josh then. Like I see Philly is playing Dallas. That would be fun. That's gonna be a huge game just for the NFL season, right? Like obviously, like that's gonna be huge for who's gonna decide the NFC East. But I guess I would go Josh. So Josh against you, who you had in that matchup. You had yourself get into the finals.
But in a different week, which could change.
That's true.
Things.
That's true. So week 17. Yeah, that depends on matchup. You said you have Herbo against the Rams, which is probably going to be like a 4-5 game.
Probably get fussed out.
Oh, am I going to crown somebody new, or am I going to give Josh the second one?
Josh to be the first repeat.
No, I want that for myself, of course. So
we're
wow. I don't know. I'll go with I got to finish the bracket.
Can't leave the bracket unfinished.
I would say, I'll give it to you. Right? New era. Like I like your team a lot, top to bottom, right? Like I think your team is extremely complete too. Besides, Everett, but we said a lot of teams have a tight end, that they can't really rely on. But no, if Herbo keeps snapping and the guys stay healthy for him, it's going to be hard to, beat him. But Josh also has that quarterback. So it really comes down to the guys after that. And your guys just touchdown upside. If your running backs can figure it out, it's going to be really dangerous. They've been kind of slumping a little bit. Chubb has not been doing what he was doing the first half of the year. Yeah. And Josh, Josh kind of same thing with like Saquon, and a little bit with Olave. But if those guys pick it up, like I could see a high scoring final. And yeah, you want a tiebreaker, right? If in case anybody's got the same final.
I think we'll be all right.
I'll go like 136 to 130. I'll give it to you over him.
All right, that should be a good one. Just taking a quick peek and quick thing to note. I mean, obviously we both picked me. A little love for the podcast host. Regardless, just giving a little sneak peek at the next 2 weeks. We actually have, so this week we have the 3 Saturday matchups, and then the week following this, week 16, so the second round of the postseason, will be almost all the matchups on Saturday. So Saturday's Christmas Eve. So Sunday being Christmas, they don't like to put all these games on Christmas. So there's only 3 games on next Sunday on Christmas Day, with the whole entire slate being Christmas Eve. So it'll be interesting on that Saturday to see how it goes. We'll have a ton of football in week 2 of our postseason, which hopefully we'll get a pod going this week where we can talk about what just happened, and next week, and hopefully when we're talking next week and we're sitting down same time next week or whatever it may be, we're talking about our wins and who we're playing next, and not our demise and on the outside looking in. But it should.
Yeah, I don't know if I lose this week, it's gonna be bad.
I don't know if you'll want to come. I don't know if we both lose this week. I don't know if there will be a pod.
Well, we'll have to have Drew hosted then.
Yeah, we'll do a Drew and Steve special or something. Drew and Cactus.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. It's definitely, like I said, it's gonna be. I'm very excited for this week. It's always good when you play the little brother, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna show why he's a little brother this week. I'm looking to make it 4-2 a lifetime.
All right, we'll see.
Oh, he's talking. I don't know if you heard him.
I did not hear him. We have Kyle in the other room.
You coward! Come up here and show some face for the end of the pod.
We have Kyle live in the other room right now talking shit, but behind the cameras, behind the scenes, doesn't want to face the pod, doesn't want to face you guys, doesn't want to face his older brother Bartus, clearly. A little nervous back there. Just messing with him.
He's not coming in. He's not coming in.
He's not coming in. Then I think we're all done here. We're all wrapped up. That was our little postseason review. We obviously don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. Let's focus on Week 15, get our wins, and move on. Best of luck to everyone that's here. What a great season it's been. And obviously we didn't give any love for it, but best of luck in the Sacco, fellas. Quick little rundown. We have the 7-10 of Greg and Barrera, and then the Shijin Emmett in the 9-8 matchup. The losers play for the Sacco next week. So best of luck to you guys. We're not going to break down your teams. That's not worth our time.
Yeah, you want a team breakdown? Make the top 6.
Exactly. But no, best of luck to everyone this week. Focus up, get your dubs, do what you got to do.
Yeah, and just the last thing, Barrera is coming out with championship odds. Refer to the website where this will be posted if you want to get some action and try to find a sports book that's going to be taking action on it.
Yeah, hopefully you can get us some matchup odds too. I'd like to see some spreads outside of ESPN, maybe a little money line action that I can get in on just based on him. We'll see if he has the time for it. If not, also send us your brackets as well. You heard Bartus and I submit a playoff bracket. We'd like to see yours. Because why not? You had the same opinions kind of coming from us. So let's see what the rest of the league thinks about what's going to happen in the postseason. But regardless, as always, thanks for watching. And remember to keep fantasy great. Until next time, fellas.
Thank you, sir.